kind of where we are at Franciscan Alliance, kind of current state. We're a 14 hospital system, and I just assumed a new role in October to be over the 14 instead of just the 3. I was director of business transformation just in the 3 hospitals here in Indy, but now I'm assuming all 14. So trying to take what we did in Indy and spread it, which is it's a huge challenge. We got 2 up by Chicago, a bunch in northern Indiana, a number in western Indiana, and 3 here in Indianapolis.
Hey, Joe, I'm going to pull the and-on cord.
Okay,
Sorry, for those who know the term. Can you talk to that screen
Oh, yes.
a little bit more since the camera's here and still? Okay, thanks. Kaizen.
So yeah, just real quick thing about Kaizen in case you didn't do some of the pre-work. Kaizen's a Japanese word standing for change for the good or change for the better, or really continuous improvement. So change of all kinds, of all levels. The way we do it here is we use a real simple format, before, after, and there is an effect. And there's something about the juxtaposition of putting before and after right next to each other so people see, and then messaging that 1,000 different times to people. And then they start seeing, oh, there can be an after. I need to observe what I'm currently doing to see if there's a before, but I can have an after. And it can have an effect. It can make things better. So people start getting conditioned after a while that, oh, there is something I can do. I don't have to take the current state of the way we do things here and accept it. I can think of something different and have an improvement kind of thing. So we try to message that. We send out Kaizens showing an improvement like this that somebody did to show that other people can do the same thing. So here you can see the obvious effect. You know, before it was a little messy, and after it was a little better. Who would rather work in the after? Why would you rather work in the after? Easier to find stuff? Why else? Anxiety with before. So after you start working in the after, what would you start experiencing?
Think more clearly.
Think more clearly, more relaxed,
I
safer.
think the need is probably more closely located instead of spread out all over the place.
Okay.
A lot of time looking for
A lot less time looking for stuff. All right, you can get more done during the day. So that's what we want to communicate to all our staff, that your life can be better if you do Kaizen. Less stressful, more relaxed, more joy at work. One of our 5 values here is joyful work. So we really want our employees to experience more joy at work. We want them working in environments like that. And they can all work together to create environments like that. That's what we're trying to message to our employees here. We have 4,000 employees here, but with the system we have 18,000 employees. So really trying to all 18,000 employees. Imagine 18,000 employees coming to work every day and making an improvement. You can really make something wonderful happen. You can engage all 18,000. That's what I'm trying to do here. So Kaizen is very at different levels. There's small Kaizen, individually driven, or small group Kaizen. Then there's lean events, which is a little bigger. You know, a week-long event, but really there's 2 or 3 months of prep before that. And there's 2 or 3 months of follow-up after that. So they're just 1 week, but they're really 6 months. And then there's these large Six Sigma projects that often take 6 months to a year and a half. You know, they can take a long, long period of time. And then there's this really big stuff that affects every single employee that we do here. I'm really focused on these lower 3 and trying to help us get really good at all these. Traditionally, we started out Six Sigma. We've gotten really good at Six Sigma projects. And here in Central Indiana, we started with daily Kaizen. I figured out pretty early on in the first year of the program that doing Six Sigma projects, I would only impact 20 people per project. I can only indoctrinate and get them experiencing what I want them to experience, 20 a year per project, and I could only handle maybe 5 projects a year. So maybe 100 people a year. We could really, get into this, maybe, if We were really good at it. And they gave me 4,000 employees, and they said, Joe, I want you to transform the culture here. I'm not going to do that affecting 100 people a year. So I needed something that would impact all 4,000. That's when we rolled out the Kaizen program back in 2007. Sister was one of the early adopters of the program. Got us engaged real quick.
We did recycling, and that was another opportunity.
We were one of the first hospitals in probably the state that started recycling, and Sister led that effort. So we started getting really good at that, and we're trying to spread that throughout our whole system. And then we're trying to get good at the middle stuff. That's where we're heading. We have to get good at all 3 levels. Okay, we have to have our employees get good at it. So that's what we're doing. To do that, we've been, sorry, I'm walking over here again.
That's right.
So we've been good at the projects, the piece at the top. What we're adding is the other 3 pieces. A daily improvement system, strategy planning and deployment, which you know as Ocean Connery, and value stream thinking. Probably a lot of what you're doing too. We're trying to do that also here. And here's some of the components of those additional 3 systems. So the daily improvement system, we're starting to do Gemba walks with our leadership, leader-standard work, problem-solving boards, the daily improvement huddles, where you go to a stand-up board, a stand-up meetings for 15 minutes, and you review what you did before, the day before. Did that improvement make a difference? Do we need to tweak that, or do we just accept it? And is there another improvement we should try today? And every day they're meeting and talking about the improvements that they're doing, and throughout the rest of the day working on improvement, and then meeting again the next day to talk about the improvement, to drive daily Kaizen. Our Kaizen program here has been ad hoc. They can do anything they want. In a system like this, it's going to drive a little bit more to the strategic initiatives. So they're going to push towards Kaizens that drive to the strategic initiatives. But we still want them to do what they want to do. We still want the ad hoc stuff because that really engages all employees. If they can do things that will benefit them, what's important to them, they're going to get engaged. If they get engaged, they're going to develop a passion for doing Kaizen. That's what we're really after. We want them to be driving the whole program. And then the value stream stuff, where we're looking at a value stream of work and then figuring out where the high leverage points are and structuring rapid improvement events at the high leverage points systematically over a period of time to radically improve a whole value stream. And then the strategy deployment, where we're figuring out what's the high level strategy for the whole corporation and then rolling it down through with a lot of back and forth dialogue through the different levels, clear down to the front line, and having the frontline people pick a metric that ties to the upper metrics that's relevant to them, that they can measure themselves and they can have some control and effect over. So that's where we're heading. Any questions about where we're heading? I think a lot of you are heading probably in the same direction, right? So trying to make it really simple, explain to them that we're trying to get good at these 3 levels. So now they know these 3 levels, and we're using these to kind of move us there. Mark?
I'll ask a question. Engaging people in daily Kaizen, how do you know or help people facilitate if an idea needs to become an event or a project or something bigger than the small Kaizens? Can you talk a little bit about how you coach people on that?
Sure. We're not really good at that.
Oh.
We're developing a program to get really good at that, but right now those surface up through our chief nursing officer, at least here, and she decides what we're doing, and she maintains a list of here's the things we should be working on, what's the next thing up, and let's start that rolling, and then what's after that. So we kind of rely on her. She's hearing all this input from all these different people, and we feed her stuff we're hearing, and she kind of arbitrates and decides. So it's not very bureaucratic. It's pretty, what I like is it's simple, it's fast. If something comes up, she can make a decision quick and get us repointed in the right direction. At the corporate level, we're working on a pretty rigorous step-by-step with a committee that's gonna decide a lot of stuff. My only worry about all that is that could slow things down quite a bit, so I kinda like the one we have here, but we'll have to figure out how to get fast at the other one. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
I have any really good answers for that, yes.
You may have already said this, but how long have you guys been working at this?
Not very long. 2005 we started. 2006 we officially started. The Kaizen program started in 2007. We just started this stuff this last year. That helped. So new on some stuff, been at it 10 years on other stuff. Okay. So here's the Kaizen program. The first year in 2007, we only had 281 of these Kaizens come in. Then we grew the program, and then we kind of got a little distracted. We've got, I know you can probably relate, a lot of stuff happens in systems, large systems that you get pulled in all kinds of different directions. But so we're doing about 1 Kaizen per employee here in Central Indiana per year. Not stellar, but we've got engagement. And in some areas, we've got high engagement. And I'm going to showcase a number of those areas today where we've got high engagement. And the reason we got high engagement has to do with a lot of different things, but mainly the local leaders. So I'm going to showcase some of the local leaders and what they do and how they practice, which will really show you. We're trying to take what they do, the practice they do, and spread those across, and that takes time. But I want to really model how it's done well. We've got about 1/3 of our employees engaged. Okay, we're driving towards 80% engagement. Eventually, we'll get there. And when you do this stuff, we don't really emphasize dollar savings, but dollar savings come. And you can see 1 year we had $3.5 million in savings. This last year we had close to $1 million in savings. So you get a lot of people engaged, doing a lot of nice stuff. Every once in a while you're going to get some dollar savings, and then they add up. Okay. And I'm hoping to take this and spread this across 18,000 employees, and really get the dollar savings going in. Any questions on that? Yes.
That first graph you showed, the number of Kaizens.
Yeah.
We've been at it for a couple of years, and we saw, in working with Mark, he was right that you're going to have initial enthusiasm, that kind of piece, and then it starts dwindling off. He's like, how do we maintain enthusiasm? And it would appear that from 2011 to 2014, that might have been what might have been going on, perhaps, or maybe you introduced something huge and that distracted everyone. Can you speak a little bit about that dip, and then also what caused the big turnaround in 2015?
Yeah, I think one of the things is we introduced our EMR system. We took all our
That'll do it. Bingo.
ripped out 12 independent systems and put in one massive electronic medical record system. And that distracted everybody. Everybody had to be retrained. Every single employee was affected. So, and leadership was, they more or less said, for the next year, let's not do continuous improvement. I'm like, whoa, no, we got to continue. Oh, Joe, we just can't. So we kind of helped them with the EMR system rollout kind of. So that was a huge distraction. But they continued doing Kaizen, especially those people that are really engaged. In this time period, we built a new bed tower. We closed a facility in Beach Grove, moved all those employees here, and consolidated 2 campuses into this new bed tower. That didn't affect every employee, but it affected probably 2/3 of our employees or more. Huge distraction, had a lot of planning, pulled everybody's attention away from what they were doing to help them do that. So those were 2 big things that really impacted us. And then in here we had a consulting group come in, and it wasn't just a small engagement. They engaged, all facilities pretty heavily. So that is all distracted with different things. And then there was we had some restructuring, some layoffs, and all the benefits got redone. And so there's a lot of tear up in our organization the last few years that's gotten a lot of people distracted, I guess is a good term to use. So Well, hopefully, we're gonna get back on course and get refocused on growing this continuous improvement program, is where my heart and passion is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my observations just as an occasional outside visitor to Franciscan is I think one of the keys is that you see the managers and the directors, it's a daily habit for them to ask about ideas, to recognize ideas, really, really consistent, just drumbeat of energy. And then you see some of the leaders say at some point, it's not immediate, it takes a while. Joe, I think maybe has some other thoughts on this. At some point, it hits critical mass, if you will. And in some of these departments, it seems like you couldn't stop the Kaizen culture if you tried. It's just become so ingrained. But I don't, that tipping point or critical mass, there's a moment, you've seen this happen, though, when that occurs, right?
Seen it time and time again. Yeah, most of the managers I'm gonna put in front of you tell you it was a slow start. It took 6 months felt like pulling teeth before employees trusted you enough to start getting engaged, put their toe out in the water and start trying these little Kaizens. And then after they try them, they're like, oh, that went okay, let me try another one. And the momentum starts growing. And then a few work together and something works well, and then a few more, and their confidence starts growing, that they can do this stuff, and leadership's going to support them and coach them, and they're going to have successes. And then typically if it's a passionate manager, she sticks at it. After about 6 months, it starts, instead of pushing and pulling teeth, it starts taking a life of its own. Employees start trying it. And then most managers that I've talked to at about a year, they say they can almost walk away from the program. But they have to stick in there and just keep the drumbeat going. But the employees take it over. And it becomes a self-driving kind of thing. More than that.
Sure.
Yes, sister.
Meg,
Yes.
I can tell you 2 experiences that I've had recently. I was walking down the hallway under the basement area, and I was talking to the employees from engineering, and they were talking about something. I don't remember what it was. I said, what are you doing? They were explaining to me what they were doing. I said, is that an improvement? I'm saying them up. And they said, yes. I said, is it worthwhile? And they said, yes. And I said, is that a Kaizen? They said, yeah, it could be. And then I said, have you ever done a Kaizen? Or what improvements have you made recently? So they thought for a while. I said, you think about that, and then get back with me, and you and I, the staff, you and I can do it together. I will show you how to do it. I'll give you a week or so. Well, as it turned out, I didn't see the person around, but that was okay. I saw him in the hallway maybe a week or so later. I said, how about the Kaizen? So we went ahead, he had a list. He was a little nervous about it. I said, we'll show you, and we'll walk through it, and we did it online. And then after that, I said, how about you're getting with your other peers? And I saw what some of the things you've done. Why don't you engage them and get some more ideas? So the second time, we did it again, but I said, now you show me how to do it. I forgot what to do. You show me how, so I know that you know what you're doing. So we did that. So that event happened as I was just right down the hallway. I heard something, so I had engaged them. Another situation that happened about a month ago. I came over here a Saturday or Sunday weekend. It was the weekend because I wanted to check out something, and as it turned out, I volunteered to help one of the ES staff. So I did that, and then at the very end, like 9 o'clock at night, Said, sister, would you go with so-so over to another area? I said, and no. I said, I'd be glad to. So she and I went over and we were cleaning in the doctor's lounge. We did that and she looked at me and said, you know how it works, don't you? I said, and I thought, woman, if you only knew. And I said, yes, I do know how. We went out the office area, past the bathroom, and she said, you know, I wish we had a different paper towel dispenser. Now, is that a big deal? No, not really. But what she was thinking of, it would save time. She wouldn't have to be checking on it every time. And she would know that there would be paper towels in the bathroom. Is that important? If you're wiping your hands, you better have paper towels. And then she also said, we need a hamper in there. Because they take their scrubs and they put it in another area and it's not a good method. I said, oh, okay. I left it at that. I said, well, will you follow up on it? She said, yes. Well, the following Monday, I went back up there. I wanted to check on it and see if it was really the situation. And she happened to be coming in at that time. So I thought, okay, we'll talk to the manager. So I said to the manager, she and I, the other employee and I, went and we talked to the manager. And I said, Rolinda has some suggestions. These are what they are. The manager said, those are two good ideas. So, okay. And then I said to Erlinda, I said, I'll help you with them if you'd like. So, excuse me. So the following day, we went ahead and put them in. 2 or 3 days later, we had a different type of paper towel dispenser. We had the roll paper dispenser rather than a tri-ply. It's more efficient. And the hacker works well. So that was fine, it was done. And then a few days later, I went back to follow up. Linda was there, the manager was there. And I said to the manager, we went over, I said, this is PR recognition for that employee. So I said to the manager, did you notice what we did in the bathroom? I said, yeah. I said, Linda did this. This was her idea. And you could just see, she was pleased for that recognition. And then afterwards, I went ahead, when we had a department meeting, we went ahead and took a picture of what she had done, the improvement, and we showed those improvements to the other employees, so that Erlinda would be recognized and that the other employees could be recognized also. So those were 2 experiences that we had with ES and another department.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you can see a leader like Sister can grab a hold of this and get it, and then drive it herself in her department. And that's what we've experienced. The continuous improvement folks aren't out driving that. We've got our local leaders like Sister driving that. And another little interesting thing for you continuous improvement folks, we have about 5 people in our department here locally. And we've been averaging about $4 million in savings a year in our program. You can see a big chunk of that comes from Kaizen. So Kaizen's kind of been there year after year after year for us. Even if some of these projects don't always pan out like we expect, Kaizen's still helping us as a continuous improvement department justify our existence. Okay, so it's kind of cushioned us over the years because it's not us out doing this. We're assisting, but other people like Sister, our leaders, are driving this. Yes.
Quick question about your graph. So,
Yeah.
are you saying that your team, for appropriate word, all the people that are participating, that the engagement peaked and then dropped because the interest level, or you said distracted, but I guess what I'm thinking about it is, with all the low-hanging fruit gone after 4 or 5 years.
That's another good point.
And then you introduce a major culture change, and now all these people are now engaged in continuing improving the new software systems.
Yeah, it gets tougher over time. You do pick off, especially Kaizen, it's a lot of little stuff. So once they pick those things off and the area becomes cleaned up, there's less stuff. It gets tougher, yes. But I think that may be some of the effect. I think some of the big effect is those major distractions. So the next few years will kind of show, once those distractions are hopefully mostly gone. Although you never know in healthcare. Some big thing's going to come rolling too tomorrow. Hopefully. But yeah, you're right. I think we're going to be, and that's where we just need to step up the engagement. We got a third of our employees engaged. We really need to get most of our employees engaged. Then they'll be picking up more of the low-hanging fruit. But I think over time it'll grow. But we're going to hit that point where a lot of the easy stuff's gone. And then it's going to get harder. And we're experiencing that a lot in our Six Sigma projects. A lot of the easier stuff's gone. Now we're getting into stuff that's a lot more complicated, more time consuming, a lot more data, a lot more analysis. So we are experiencing that, yes.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you talked about changing the EMR to a different system and closing the tower and combining them into one, were you involved in those decisions, or were those made and then just handed out to the staff to deal with?
Yeah, they were made high up. Yeah, we kind of rolled with whatever was coming. Yeah, Matt was a big part of. He was the project manager on the consolidation. He did a lot of work to plan that whole merging to take place. He's going to talk.
And that was the long-term vision of the organization. When you looked at the Beach Grove campus, it was landlocked. It was, parts of it were 100 years old. It had been remodeled to the extent it could be remodeled and updated. So that was kind of a play and vision to eventually relocate all services down here.
Does that answer your question? Okay, so we're going to spread. I've started working with some of the other facilities across the system. You can see the number of Kaizens. So here in Central, last year we had 3,600. We just started in the other, so it starts slow. Okay, I want to make sure you don't walk out of here with any grandiose visions that this is something magical. You just throw it out there and poof. It's not. It takes some hard work, and it takes concerted work over a period of time. But if you do it, you put that upfront investment, it'll pay off, and it'll pay you dividends year after year after year. That makes sense? There's some upfront investment you have to make, and you have to get out there and get your hands dirty and work with those people. And work with the sisters out there, the leaders out there, to make sure they get it and understand it. And then they can drive it. They can make it happen. And then to hit all 18,000 employees, we got a lot of things to hit. So next week I'm going to work with our revenue cycle people. Okay? So we're just going to systematically keep pushing forward with this. Any questions? Yeah.
With an organization this big and all the Kaizen that's going on, how do you guys look at, so you implement something that works really well in one department,
Yeah.
how do you spread that out so that if it could work well in another department, how are they made aware of things that are going on that might improve processes either in this hospital, another hospital? Do you guys look at that with Kaizen, or do you keep it more local?
No, we look at that. Nathan's kind of the psychology guy. There's a lot of psychology involved in that. You can't push it. You know, what happens when you push on people?
Resist.
Yeah, they push back. So you got to just showcase it like we're doing with you over the next day and a half. Showcase what good really looks like, and then you're going to adopt pieces of that and carry those home. That's what we're trying to do here, is just showcase those leaders that really do it well and let those managers that want adopt. You know, maybe at a later game we'll push, but we're going to keep showcasing and getting these early adopters on board first, right? Really getting them going, and not worry about the resistors. Just go after the early adopters, especially these other hospitals throughout the system. Whoever wants to roll this Kaizen program out, I'm working with them first. Getting something going where there's interest, okay? And then showcasing to those people sitting on the fence, here's what we're doing. You want to join, kind of thing. If you don't, no worries. But if you do, we'll bring it to you and help you get started. Kind of thing. So that's kind of what we're thinking of doing. Traditionally, the Kaizen program, we showcased our best performers. We didn't, some of the low performers, we didn't call them out. We just focused on positive. Positive, 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 positive. And that seemed to work for us. Is that a good enough answer? Okay, some lessons learned. Here's just a short list of some of the things we've seen with the Kaizen program. It gets people working together. If you let them lead some improvements, they'll start talking to people and see who can help them. And they'll start engaging other people. And initially, it's just the people they feel comfortable with. And then after they get a little more confidence, they'll venture out and talk to other people in the department. And then pretty soon, when they get some more confidence, they're starting to work with people across departments. You know, and then you establish these relationships. I could show you Kaizen after Kaizen after Kaizen, where someone in one department established a relationship with another person in another department. Initially, it had to go up through the leadership ranks, up to the directors, and they connected. But once they got that initial connection, they don't need the leadership anymore. Now, for courtesy, they should go that, but the leadership should relinquish that control eventually and say, okay, you can work with that person directly. And we've had these link-ups happen throughout the organization where something happens much faster because this frontline employee talked directly, in pharmacy, talked directly to this frontline employee in nursing and had an idea, and they worked, and it worked really well. I could show you Kaizen after Kaizen after Kaizen where that took place. Things started happening faster and faster and faster because the people across departments started making these connections through Kaizen, and they started doing some really impressive stuff. So it gets people working together. Okay. It enables small tests of change and learning, changes learning. The key thing I want to emphasize is start small. And sometimes we forget that, and then for new employees or people just starting out, it can't be big. If they try something big, they may not do so well and they'll get frustrated. So you as a coach or a leader have to help them break that big thing down into small bite-sized chunks and then coach them to do that first bite-sized chunk well. And if they have some success, they're more willing, have more confidence to step into that next big step. And then if you can get them to go through a few steps and they start seeing all this connect to produce a big gain, then they're going to have a lot more confidence they can do the big stuff. But they know now how to do the big stuff. To do the big stuff, you break it all down into bite-sized chunks and take small steps, baby steps, right? So that's what we coach our leaders, is baby steps, small change, small tests of change, okay, and learning. Because this program is really about developing people. And to develop people, we got to start small. Okay. After they've been doing a Kaizen for a few years, they might be ready for the bigger stuff. But early on, really small stuff, really trivial stuff. We kind of got beat up a little bit because we'd show how trivial it could be. You could move something on your desk, and we'd showcase that to all 4,000 employees, and they'd think, well, this leadership especially would think, oh, that's trivial. I don't think leadership quite gets it. What that's doing is it's getting someone engaged in continuous improvement. And if they do these small things, pretty soon they're doing bigger stuff. Pretty soon you got someone that is confident they can work with just about anybody and get anything done, which is remarkable. If you try changing an organization, it's hugely difficult. If you can get these people confident to do change in the organization, you've got someone that's pretty powerful. It gives people a sense of being in control. Some people, control is not usually important, but I think for a vast number of people, control is pretty important. And they need some sense that even, we're changing bed towers and EMR systems and huge dramatic change going on here, and pay systems and benefits. And I think the employees here have weathered those storms a lot better than some of our other employees because they have a sense of control through the Kaizen program. They can control their workspace. So that gives them a sense, well, at least I got control over my workspace. So I've got some control on this thing that's changing like in a storm. Okay? And in particular, in the departments where it's really done well, the Kaizen's done well, they've excelled when the big changes have come. It develops people's continuous improvement and innovation skills and abilities. If they can do this small stuff, they get more confident in doing radical, innovative kind of stuff. Because they've established all these connections and relationships, and they've gone through improvement after improvement after improvement. They've built their skills at working with people and getting stuff done. That's what we're after. That's the heart of Kaizen. That's what this is really all about. It's not about the dollars, really. At the end of the day, it's about developing these people so that they can make this improvement. It's about improving the rate at which we learn and improve. When I first walked into this job, the guy, Dr. Paul Strange, he said, Joe, he showed me the numbers. He said, we're flatlined on improvement. He showed me a bunch of quality measures. We were just flatlined. He said, we can't exist like that. Other hospitals are improving. We have to improve at a much faster rate. So that's when he said, I need a cultural transformation to where everybody's improving at a much faster rate. And that was his assignment to me. I had to figure out how to do that. And that's what we're trying to do. Improve at a faster and faster and faster rate. And I mentioned this earlier. Engage the organization in smaller, larger change. If they're engaged in the small stuff, they're a lot more comfortable with just when the big stuff comes along. In these departments, we're going to showcase they have some of the lowest turnover in our organization. They have some of the most highly engaged employees in their organization. They have some of our better quality measures in our organization. They have some of our better hospital-acquired infection rates. They have just totally, their measures are better than areas that don't practice Kaizen well. And it flourishes with leaders. When we look at those departments that really excel with Kaizen, it's because those leaders made it happen. And departments where it doesn't happen, it's because of the leader. So, it's vital you find someone like Sister that gets it and is passionate about it and pushes it. If you can find a sister, it's going to excel in that area. Okay? So we're trying to find more sisters. Yeah.
You're talking about a fair point too about control.
Yeah.
Flip of that or off that is ownership.
Yes.
They actually, whether it's control or ownership, they appreciate the fact that, hey, this is fine.
Yes.
I gotta take care of it.
Yes. I mean, they're told what to do and how to practice so much. This gives them a sense, well, I can at least own this piece of it. I can make this kind of change. Yes, ownership is key. It gives them a sense of ownership. And then it changes behaviors and cultures. You can change their thinking. You get them thinking, well, there can be an after, and I can make that happen by working with people. If their thinking changes, pretty soon that shows up in how they behave. And that ownership helps change their behavior. If they feel like they have some ownership of this, then they feel more responsibility. Their behaviors shift. And once you get a critical mass of behavior shift, you're finding out you've got a different culture on your hands. So to get to the culture, you have to start with their thinking and behaviors. And behaviors are how you get people practicing something different. And I think Kaizen does that because it gives them the ownership. And we kind of coach them and then push them out there. All right? But they step out and they learn something when they step out and try something. And they're likely to do it better next time because they learned something, even if it fails. Often we learn best when we try something and it fails, right? Because we get this emotional thing around that really sinks that learning deep. Okay, current challenges. So much to do, so little time, so many constraints. I think all of you could say this, right? This is your organization. So many squirrels, so many distractions, so much change going on, especially in healthcare. I don't know if this is the same in manufacturing, but I imagine it probably is. You're competing with foreign competitors, and that's really a really competitive environment. So the CEO and COO that supported this Kaizen program have moved on. but it still remains, and it's because we've got embedded leaders like Sister and Matt that get it and are still driving it forward because they understand the benefit, they understand what this is all about. One of the challenges, the Kaizen rewards is potentially going to go away. We reward them for documenting and turning into Kaizen. That potentially is going to go away. We're going to have to somehow replace it with some good recognition system.
We can speak more about that.
Yeah, we give them 200 VIP points when each person that's name is listed on a Kaizen. We give them 200 VIP points, which is about $1 worth of merchandise that they can go out and buy something with. And we're rewarding them not for the idea, but we're rewarding them for documenting, for turning this in, going through the process. Okay? And we're making sure we're rewarding everybody whose name's on there. So everybody feels included. It's not just one person who had the idea. It's everybody that it took to get it done. We're rewarding all those people. It's a small, trivial award, but it's important to them. At least they're getting something. And I heard leadership's going to take that away, so we're going to have to rethink a lot of things. One more thing they're getting taken away. I mean, we've taken away a lot of things over the last few years, and now we're taking one more thing away. So I'm worried about the backlash, but I was talking to Mark about it. I think we just really need to emphasize the recognition. If the rewards are going away, we need to really heighten the recognition, make sure we recognize people more thoroughly on these small Kaizens.
Is there a way to tie that to their performance evaluations?
And a lot of
So they
departments,
actually can see a benefit rather than,
yeah,
so,
a lot of the departments around have gone to where they make this part of their performance evaluation. You have to do 2 or 4 or 6 Kaizens per year. Did you have something?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to add, as we talked about this, Joe, is in a challenging situation in that there's been a precedent set. People have been sort of conditioned to expect you document a Kaizen, you get some reward. I've worked with a lot of organizations that have put the focus solely on recognition and have said, you know what, the intrinsic reward, making your work easier, doing a better job for patients. If you allow people to participate, they want to participate. Leaders have to get out of the way instead of thinking about how do we incentivize it, right? So if you get out of the way, thank people, give them recognition individually, in front of teams, in front of the whole organization, you don't have to build a rewards program. That said, I mean, their rewards program, I think, has been the way you do it. It's not based on a percentage of cost savings. It's spread thin. It's pretty even. It's a different form of recognition, I would argue. It's not the traditional suggestion box, shared cost savings kind of approach that sounds good but never works. But I mean, I appreciate the situation that you're in, though, but because people could get upset because you're taking something away, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like rewarding children for grades.
Oh, yeah.
Get A, I'll give you $5 or 10 or whatever, the kid was gonna say, don't work 10 bucks, forget it.
Or what, no longer do the 10 bucks.
No, like send it at all,
Yeah, I
Well,
was expecting that.
Dr. Deming always taught that. There's a great book by Dan Pink called Drive that lays out the case how extrinsic rewards, unfortunately, as Harold is saying, extrinsic rewards tear away the intrinsic reward that was there. I think here you haven't torn away you haven't done away with the intrinsic reward.
Okay.
So I think you can navigate that, but
Okay.
something to be careful about.
the resource participation is trying to help 30%.
Yeah.
How do you measure that? How do you track that? Is that by the Kaizen documents that get turned in with the requester name on the bottom of it?
Christie manages our database. Yeah, we have an electronic database that was homegrown where when someone has a Kaizen idea, they go enter it into the database and immediately their supervisor gets an email saying your employee so-and-so has entered a Kaizen. And they can click on a link and it pulls it up so the supervisor can review it right then and there and either approve it right then and there or decide to go talk to that person and give them coaching. Okay. And if they give them coaching and after they complete the whole thing, they can approve it as completed and then it's they get their reward. And then it's in the system, so we can go review the data, and we have a process we go to tie people's names, so that, you know, if they've done at least one Kaizen, they get, yeah. That helps. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
You know, I saw that reference at your book, the idea of having, searchable databases, whether it's by department, by individual, maybe by type of Kaizen. Is that something that is viewable from all staff?
Yeah. So all 18,000 employees in our corporation now can view, we have 27,000 Kaizens we've done since 2007. So someone in the northern region can pull up our Kaizen database and do a search on shelving and find a list of all the Kaizens that are related to shelving. And they can click through those and view them and get ideas. Well, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this. Those are great ideas. I can do those kinds of things in my area. Yeah, so it's powerful if it gets
I can
used.
see that being very powerful.
Yeah.
And,
And we've got a homegrown system. Mark's engaged with people that have a commercially based system. But yeah, it can be very powerful.
And that helps fulfill that recognition, because if you're having to pull away the words like you described,
Yeah,
but still having in the sense your name and lights, if you could see, wow, look at all the kinds of you've done this.
yes.
Yeah, well, I noticed your
Yeah.
sheriff.
We've got a gal here that's done over 300.
Wow.
Yeah, she's in the Endoscopy area, Andy.
Andy, yeah.
You might go see her today or tomorrow.
As you meet people, look, their badge holders, you'll see a star with a number. That represents the number of Kaizens that they've done. So keep an eye out for that. Joe, there's another question. Sorry.
Just a quick comment, like, to me as a people leader, like, if you believe in the engagement piece and you believe that can help all different areas of your business, if you're able to get the program going, it allows you as a leader to engage with your employees in a much less aggressive sort of way, because you can focus on these projects and rewards, and then you're not talking about challenging people on how do we get your production up, how do we get your quality down.
Okay, going back to camera here.
You don't have to be so negative management, I guess, as other people do, because it's all, we're all in this together and improve processes.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we just had the leaders say, this year, this quarter, we're focusing on patient satisfaction. So we sent out emails saying, this is the patient satisfaction quarter. We're looking for Kaizens related to patient satisfaction. Then we'll get those and then showcase and send them back out to that leader. And that leader will blast them out to all 4,000 employees, showcasing here's a patient satisfaction Kaizen that somebody did in their area that's really helping us, kind of thing. So yeah, I think you're right. You can spin things a lot more positive.
I think a lot of supervisors and probably managers, you get in this one-on-one relationship where you're just constantly challenging your employees to go faster or harder or whatever it is. When you're just it's so much less aggressive. You can potentially get the same results if you're able to get that engagement.
Yeah, good point. It sounds like you have some experience in that.
Sure. It's a good way to kill that too, though.
To kill the kite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
that is you push all these employees to do all this stuff, but then you, well, that isn't quite right. Let me look at that a little bit. And about a month later, you hear something coming out that's got your boss's name on it. Sure sound a lot like your idea.
oh yeah, that's why you gotta make sure the right people get the right credit. Yeah. What we do is, those Kaizens have the people's name on the daily Kaizen. The leader is just showcasing what other people have done.
This approach is totally justifiable. You're doing what we paid you. You're doing with the equipment we bought for you to use. You use these people's time, so it belongs to us, not you.
Us as the employee, yes, yes.